Been poking at the wolf, now the wolf got teeth. They forgot I came from fire, and I don't do peace. Cross that line, boy, it's your last mistake. 'Cause I don't want fire, just raise the stakes. You threaten mine, and you threaten your life. I don't do prayer circles, I return the strike. Ain't no fear in my bones, ain't no backing out. Say my name wrong once, and now I'm airing it out. I'll burn this bitch down, don't test my flame. You play with hellfire, you say my name. You come for my people, I'll take your crown. I swear to God, I'll burn this bitch down. I'll burn this bitch down, leave nothing behind. Push me too far, I'll lose my mind. You want that smoke, I'll bring that sound. One last chance before I burn this bitch down. I ain't violent for sport, but I finish what you start. I'm the storm in the dark, I'm the iron heart. Kick dirt on my door and I'll bury the plot. I don't bluff, motherfucker, I take the shot. I don't fight fair, I fight final instead. Till the whole damn room learns what I said. Protect what's mine, that's a blood-borne vow. Say a word wrong, you'll find out now. I swear to God, I'll burn this bitch down. I'll burn this bitch down, leave nothing behind. Push me too far, I'll lose my mind. You want that smoke, I'll bring that sound. One last chance before I burn this bitch down. Last breath, last spark, last round. Touch mine once, I'll level the ground. I'll burn this bitch down, don't test my flame. You play with hellfire, you say my name. You push on my family, I'll take you out. I warned you once. Now watch me burn it down. lie to dip you. That's a sex machine to all the chicks. You damn right. Who is the man that would risk his neck for his brother, man? Can you dig it? Good evening. Welcome. I'm in just one of their moods tonight. I'm in one of those moods tonight. What's going on? Welcome to the Radical Republicans live show. I am your host, the J Black Mamba, Jerome Bell, and we are live this Sunday night as usual, January 11th, 2026. Digging into this new year already tonight. I think tonight is going to be one of those nights where you say, that just may have been your best show of the night. Or ever. Not of the night of, or ever. I know Susan tells me that a lot. That was your best show ever. Welcome. I see you over there, Susan. I see you, TBB. See you, Carolyn, the faithful, and the others are coming in over there on the Getter chat. And on Rumble, we are live on Rumble. We're live on X. We are live on Getter. We'll be on Pickaxe. We're live on pickaxe.com. Go check out pickaxe.com, y'all. That's going to be the only free, truly free, non-AI tracking social media platform in America, I think. Probably in the world. I'm so jacked tonight. I'm not even going to read a sponsor because I don't want a sponsor to be responsible or feel like they have to be responsible for what I'm going to say tonight. You know, we're going to do something not different because, you know, we always come out with the truth. We always come out unapologetic. We always come out unscripted, unedited, unfiltered, uncensored, right? We always do that. So it's not going to be left versus right tonight. It's not going to be Democrat versus Republican. It's not going to be, you know, no partisan theater. There's not going to be none of that bullshit tonight. You know, so tonight we're going to talk about Americans only because, you know, wearing the hat, of course, America only. And we're going to talk about Americans only. You know, because what I'm really tired of, you know, I'm done watching. You know, let me say this first. FBAs, and I say this, FBA's Foundation of Black Americans, I put it out before, and other Americans, because I don't want you white people, I don't want the white people to feel like they're left out or I'm being racist like I've been called because I told the FBAs to sit down. This isn't their fight, but sit your asses down and listen. Okay, sit down and listen. Because what I'm about to say tonight is about our country, our taxpayers, and our future. I'm fed up. I'm done watching foreign countries grift off American taxpayers. I'm done watching ungrateful, stealing motherfuckers from around the world take our money, our resources, our blood, and then spit in our faces. You know, like this week we got Minnesota burning because of some jacked up liberals wanting to get in the way of ICE operations. We got Venezuela, where we supposedly are in control of. We're in control. We're supposed to be running the government, but it's so unstable that the State Department is telling Americans to get out, leave immediately. Leave immediately. I mean, if we're running the country, why is that? Right? I know we were told we're taking over, we're running the country, but those of us that didn't buy into the bullshit, those of us that didn't buy into the, you know, and dare I say cult leadership, dare I say that, because I'm about American exceptionalism,
definitely America only. So you have to be about American exceptionalism. That tongue tie for that. I mean, Iran is about to explode into a war that will cost us billions because Trump is doing what Trump does. He throws the he throws it out there. If the people need help, we're ready. What a lot of you may not know is Argentina is on fire, and from what I'm understanding and what everyone in Argentina is saying is that it's Israel terrorists, Israeli terrorists, that's setting the blazes, that are setting the fires in Argentina. So if you haven't heard about that, check it out. And I'm tired of being told to pick a side. I'm tired of being told to pick a side when both sides are screwing everyday Americans. Both sides are screwing everyday Americans. And I'm tired of pick a side, pick a side. My side is America. My side is Americans. That's my side. This left right circus while both parties send our money overseas. Both of them do it. So tonight we're cutting through all of it. We're going to cut through all the bullshit, right? We're going to cut through, you know, just the monotony of it. We're going to cut through the matrix. And we have a lot to cover. We honestly have a lot to cover, and we're going to get it done. Okay. We're definitely going to get it done. So I was looking at, okay, let's look at this Minneapolis thing to get off the bat, right? Why don't we just start there? So let me be clear about Minneapolis, Minnesota. Little Mogadishu is what we call it, right? Little Mogadishu. I'm having some problem with my scroll here. The cameras. But let me be clear, it's not our fight. Yes, a U.S. citizen was shot dead by federal agents. Renee Good, 37. A lot is coming out about her. Mother of three. A lot is coming out about her. About the abuse of her kids and just so much other shit, man. It's just ridiculous, right? Video shows she turned wheels, you know, tourist officer away from the officers. FBI blocked, Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension from investigating. This is actually the ninth ICE shooting since September 2025. Yeah. Four people have been killed during deportation operations, but hey, it's a dirty job. It's a dirty job. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Now we have autonomous zones like Chaz 2020. Here comes Chaz 2020. We got schools closing. We got, the teachers are going to be out there protesting. They're going to have the kids out there. This is a dangerous situation, man. But this is communist. Remember I told you a while ago that we were embedded by communists? This is communist. This is communism. And they use the kids. They're going to use the kids out there. I think they have the schools closed for the rest of the month, right? For like the next 30 days. What sense? Why? Why? Because a psycho liberal, if she tried to or didn't mean to, but seemed like she did, pulled off and got shot. Now there's 2,000 plus ICE agents deployed. That's more than the Minneapolis police combined, even though, they have them spread out. I saw a video. We will get to some video. I think we saw a video where two of the ICE agents were confronted, bum rushed by some Somalis. My thing is you have 15 rounds in one clip. You have 15 rounds in one clip. So it's like, who wants to be first? No one wants to be first. You start capping, you start firing off rounds. People are going to scatter. So that video of them, I don't believe I would have backed. I have this 25-foot rule. If you step into my 25-foot circle, as I'm taught, as I was trained to, you're probably going to get dropped. 25 feet. Hey, if you think you're in danger, right? If you think you're in danger, you got a 25-foot rule. What's up, Jamie? I see you, bro. Jamie Cologne, mi amigo. What is going on with? I tell you what, this isn't. Jeez, it's tripping. I just have some technical difficulties at the moment. I always have some technical difficulties because I have to operate on a system that's old. I need a new system. I need a new system. Nobody wants to donate to the show, so can't buy a new system. And so everything is slow up here. All right, but I mean, then we got Trump, right? Then we got Trump, Mr. America First, MAGA himself, right? He'll tell you he coined it. It's his. He coined it, right? He's going to Davos next week. I'm gonna play a clip, right, of what's supposed to happen at Davos. Okay, we're gonna talk about that. So we have the president of the United States going to Davos, the World Economic Forum, right? Used to be Klaus Schwab's globalist headquarters with his entire cabinet. The entire cabinet is going. And they're supposed to be going to sign an $800 billion deal with Ukraine while they're over there. And speaking of Trump, before I play this clip, his media company, you understand, just merged with a nuclear fusion company for $6 billion. So while he's president, and this is really, I believe, illegal, even though it's his company doing it, but it's his, right? It has his name on it. So while he's president, he's controlling the agencies that have to approve his own companies or his son's companies, whoever is running the projects in the companies, using his position to enrich the family for generations. I believe. And through all of this, where are the arrests that were promised? Right? Ilhan Omar still in Congress. The clients list still, all of it. They put it up, took it back down. They haven't released anything. Fauci still free. Hunter Biden pardon. Hunter Biden computer supposedly laptop supposedly supposed to be have all this information. Anthony Weiner's, you guys remember that Anthony Weiner's laptop? Still don't know anything about that. I mean, the whole swamp is still swimming. The whole swamp is still swimming. So meanwhile, we had silver. Silver just went over $80. I think it closed at like 79, but it was over $80 an ounce. So do you understand what that means? That the smart money is preparing for chaos, and there's a shortage on silver. Are we preparing for war? Is what President Trump doing preparing for war, preparing for collapse? While we fuck around and we argue about red versus blue, Democrat versus Republican, liberal versus conservative. So yeah, we have a lot to unpack tonight, and I'm not holding back. I'm not holding back on Trump. I'm not holding back on the left. I'm not holding back on anybody because tonight is Americans only night. And that means we're going to talk and we're going to ask the hard questions about who really benefits from all this chaos. Who really benefits from all the chaos, right? All right, so let me show you this. I need to share my screen because I have to go to Facebook for this. Hold up. Let me get. Wrong one. Let me share my screen here. So I'm flipping back between I produce my own show. Those that don't know, yeah. So I'm flipping back between Getter and Rumble and X, and so I'm going to play. So this is what this lady says is supposed to happen at Davos. Put your questions in there. Anybody want to come on the show, talk about it? Let me know. I'll throw a link up in there where you can come on audio. You don't have to come on video. You can come up audio. So I'm going to play this. So I'm going to share this with you, and let's see what she has to say. Wait a minute. Hold up. There it is.
That Donald Trump has set himself above international law. They wrote on
I'm
topic
gonna start
after
this over real quick.
Is Davos ready for Donald Trump? In less than 2 weeks, the president is going to march his full economic team into the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. You could say he's walking into the lion's den, except that he's the lion. And the globalists know it. Yesterday, the New York Times shrieked that Donald Trump has set himself above international law. They wrote on topic after topic, President Trump made clear he would be the arbiter of any limits to his authority, not international law or treaties. But it's not international law they're worried about. It's their entire globalist system. And that is what Trump was actually telling the New York Times. And that is exactly what he's going to tell the gathered so-called international elite at Davos. He's crippled their dirty money laundromat in the Caribbean with the Venezuelan operation. He's declared war on the economic cartels, and he's withdrawn from 66 international organizations that are used to enforce globalist policies. Now, you're not supposed to notice any of that. You're supposed to be caught up in the play-by-play of the Minnesota ICE shootings, while the Democratic foot soldiers and the controlled media try to spin up their irregular warfare operations here at home. Well, Trump and his team aren't going to let them get away with that. Both J.D. Vance and Scott Bessent made that clear in the past 2 days.
What that headline leaves out is that woman is part of a broader left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault, and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their job.
I'm Susan Kokinda, and I've seen how for decades the enemy keeps the American people in check by trapping them on the battlefields that the enemy chooses in order to keep patriots away from the real fight, which is bringing down the British imperial system. Well, Donald Trump is taking that system on, and if that's the fight you want to be a part of, I need you to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons so we can stay in touch and we can expand our reach on YouTube. Here's what we're going to cover today. How Trump is going to deliver the terms of surrender at Davos, that the Trump administration has already taken a direct strike on 66 transnational organizations, and how Treasury Secretary Bessent is bringing the fight right home here in Minnesota. So in less than 2 weeks, Donald Trump lands in Davos, and he's bringing with him a demolition crew. He's bringing Treasury Secretary Bessent, Commerce Secretary Lutnick, Energy Secretary Wright, Trade Representative Greer, and don't forget Trump's close confidant and diplomat of all trades, Steve Witkoff. Why this group? Because they represent all the elements that are replacing the British liberal free trade system. Lutnick and Greer are going to tell them that the era of sending American manufacturing capacity overseas and gutting our middle and working classes is over. Bessent is there to cut off the capital flows that prioritize global financial income streams over American wages. And Chris Wright, well, he's the walking refutation of the entire insane green agenda. And Steve Witkoff, well, he's the guy who gets things done for Donald Trump. But to really understand what Trump is doing in Davos, you're going to have to understand where Davos comes from. It was started in 1971. That was the year the British Empire dismantled the Bretton Woods financial system. That is the system that had stabilized economies in the post-war world. So the World Economic Forum was launched to begin to manage this post-1971 period. Everyone knows it was created by Klaus Schwab, but he had been mentored by Henry Kissinger at Harvard in the late 1960s. And let's not forget, that Kissinger later on, when he was Secretary of State, went on to say that in his Secretary of State capacity, he kept the British Foreign Office more closely informed than he did the State Department. So the establishment of the WEF in 1971 wasn't a coincidence. It was a transfer of power. As they killed off the power of sovereign governments to control their own credit, they built up a new temple for the transnational corporations that would rule in their place. And for 55 years, Davos has become one of the nodal points of this empire, and probably the most well-known. They don't use armies, they use ideology, and they have applied the ideology of the British Empire to the 21st century, and they've hijacked the world until now. And for all those years, researchers at Promethean Action have been exposing those operations, whether it's the WEF or the Council on Foreign Relations, or the neoconservatives or their free trade ideology, and all the other groups and policies. More importantly, we know how to defeat them. So if you want to get into the real battle, head on over to Promethean Action and subscribe to our free newsletter, because we will continue to give you the up-to-date coverage of what Trump is really doing. Because in 10 days, Trump is going to the WEF. And contrary to the claims of the naggers and the heel biters within the MAGA movement, Donald Trump is not going to Switzerland to play nice with the Davos men. He and his team are arriving with a fully activated American system alternative to their policies of globalism and imperialism, and he will be laying down the terms of surrender. Now, he's already laid down some covering fire before his team heads out, hitting them exactly where it hurts, their networks of soft power. Just 3 days ago, the White House released a new finding withdrawing the United States from 66 international organizations, conventions, and treaty. Marco Rubio made clear they're pulling the plug on what he called a sprawling architecture of global governance, which, as he put it, serves the same elite networks of the multilateral NGO complex. And then Rubio drilled down on what this apparatus really is. He said, from DEA mandates to gender equality campaigns to climate orthodoxy, many international organizations now serve a globalist project rooted in the discredited fantasy of the end of history. These organizations actively seek to constrain American sovereignty. Now, the organizations that the U.S. is withdrawing from include the full gamut of green enforcement institutions that have been set up in the last few decades to enforce the carbon dioxide is poison policy, which is supposed to make nations deindustrialize. Also, some of these institutions that we're withdrawing from go all the way back to the very foundation of the UN in the late 1940s. And if you go back to the early days of the UN, you'll find people like Julian Huxley letting it all hang out as to the British plans for the UN, which, by the way, were contrary to Franklin Roosevelt's intentions. Huxley was the grandson of Thomas Huxley. Thomas had been the president of the British Royal Society, and he served on Queen Victoria's Privy Council in the heyday of the 19th century form of British imperialism. Julian was groomed to administer the same policies in their 20th century form, and so he became the first head of UNESCO when the UN was founded, where he took up several projects. First, he laid out what the purpose of UNESCO was. He said, in its educational program, it can stress the ultimate need for world political unity and familiarize all people with the implications of the transfer of full sovereignty from separate nations to a world organization. Remember what Marco Rubio just said? These organizations actively seek to constrain American sovereignty. And Huxley also had the slightly more delicate task of repackaging one of the empire's most evil policies, race science or eugenics. Here's what Huxley said in 1948. Even though it's quite true that any radical eugenic policy will be for many years politically and psychologically impossible, It will be important for UNESCO to see that the eugenic problem is examined with the greatest care and that the public mind is informed of the issues at stake so that much that now is unthinkable may at least become thinkable. Let's not mince words. Huxley is saying Hitler gave eugenics a bad name, and we have to reframe it in the post-war world, and we're going to use these institutions to do it. So Huxley and many of the other card-carrying eugenicists became founders of the environmentalist movement, which ultimately metastasized into the green fascist organizations that the Trump administration just shut down. So by withdrawing from these 66 organizations and treaties, Trump and his team are stating clearly the U.S. is no longer abiding by your green zero growth policies, your human rights frauds that protect terrorists, and your Malthusian population reduction schemes. But the enemy doesn't just operate out of Davos or the UN. They have tentacles right here in the heartland of America. The chaos we're seeing in Minnesota and in other cities, the attacks on ICE, the rioting, this isn't organic. It's the same spider web. But the media is trying to keep you fixated on every new camera angle of the shooting in Minneapolis. Vice President J.D. Vance addressed the real issue.
What that headline leaves out is that that woman is part of a broader left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault, and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their job. If the media wants to tell the truth, they ought to tell the truth that a group of left-wing radicals have been working tirelessly, sometimes using domestic terror techniques to try to make it impossible for the President of the United States to do what the American people elected him to do, which is enforce our immigration laws.
Vance is holding the shield, but Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is drawing the sword. While the media focuses on the street violence, Bessent is looking at the apparatus that funds it. He just announced a full investigation of the fraud surrounding the daycare centers and much, much more. He made clear that the Treasury's enforcement arm, FinCEN, along with the IRS, will be looking at financial institutions and at 501c3s. He's tracking the money that moves from the same globalist foundations that interface with the UN, that used to interface with USID before Trump shut it down, and other institutions. He's looking at how this moves directly into the accounts of domestic groups burning down our cities, and he's putting them all on notice.
We track, we follow the money, and we intend to follow it as much as we can, prosecute the individuals no matter where they are, whether they are in the Minnesota government or they are sitting in East Africa. We will find them.
Then Bessent made clear that this isn't just about daycare centers, that these are the same methods used by the cartels, and they will be investigated in the same way.
We view this crime as very similar to the cartel's money laundering, many of the same approaches, many of the same shell companies. So we will see where it goes out from here. That will be a starting point. And as I said, Minnesota is going to be the protocols, procedures, and the investigative techniques, as well as the collaboration with other agencies. Minnesota is going to be the genesis for a national rollout.
Catch that last comment? This is a national rollout. These are all intertwined networks, the fraud, the cartels, drug money laundering, and the foot soldiers who are rioting and impeding ICE. This is the bottom of the apparatus that goes up through the global banking institutions, the UN, the NGOs, and the WEF. And Donald Trump is taking them on all at once. So let's step back and see what Trump has done in just the first 10 days of 2026. He smashed their offshore money laundering operations in the Caribbean. He's withdrawn from 66 transnational organizations and treaties that have been strangling American sovereignty, some since the UN was founded. His Treasury Secretary is now following the money right into the NGOs and the 501c3s that fund the foot soldiers attacking our law enforcement agents on American streets. This is a coordinated strike on every level of the spiderweb, from Davos to Minneapolis. So, sure, the New York Times is screaming that Trump has set himself above international law. Good, because their international law was never law. It was a cage built to keep America trapped inside a system designed by the British Empire and administered by their globalist heirs. Donald Trump is taking a jackhammer to that system. So if you want to stay focused on this, not the play-by-play distractions, but on the strategy to win the real war, then join us at Promethean Action. Get our free newsletter or become a paying member or a contributor. We need more people on the real battlefield mobilized to win this fight. We'll be back on Monday with another look at the Trump offensive. This has been your Saturday Brief. Thanks for watching.
Please take a moment and subscribe to our free newsletter at PrometheanAction.com.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. So she said we're pulling out of the 66. This is what Trump was saying. But here's my thing. First of all, we're going overseas and we're, pulling out of these organizations per se. We're tracking the money. We're going to, she, of course, and they never will say anything about the CIA. The CIA runs all this shit. You guys know that, right? And why is it that, I believe that they've known about this fraud in Minnesota for years. Because guess what? The big, beautiful bill funds it. They didn't take any of that out. Oh, and by the way, the U.S. Senate, controlled by who? Controlled by the Republicans. I don't think none of them are getting tasked for this. I don't remember Trump saying anything about these guys except Massey, right? Except Rand Paul and Massey, maybe Mike Lee. But there's $5.6 billion provision for refugee assistance that was found in the fiscal year 2026 appropriations bill. So why is that in there? Why isn't he attacking that? Why isn't he vetoing these bills? He got nearly $6 billion for refugee resettlement in the bill. And pretty much and it passed, which means that every Republican senator voted for it, I think, except 3. So I'm gonna watch this after after this week when he goes to Davos and see what if this lady, whatever she says, is true. And since he's taking his crew, he's gonna go and take out Davos, tell Davos what we're gonna do, right? And so I'm gonna try to check out this list. I want to see. Trying to go down. Okay, so full list of organizations, treaties put out. So I'm gonna read this. Okay, the 24/7 carbon-free energy compact. Okay, good. We need to go out of there. These are non-United Nations organizations. Why don't we just pull out of the UN? Why don't we do that? Why don't we pull out of NATO and pull out of the UN? Then we won't have to spend no money there. We won't have to use taxpayer money. We won't have to pull out of treaties. Why don't we just pull out of the UN and pull out of NATO? Why don't we do that? Right? Something called Education Cannot Wait, Commission for Environmental Cooperation. I'm not gonna read all 66, but Global Terrorism, Counterterrorism Forum. Pulling out of that. Global Community Engagement and Resilience Fund. Global Forum on Migration and Development. Yeah, we definitely shouldn't be in that. Right? So some of these are good. Most of them are probably good because, of course, Americans are funding most of this. International Institute for Justice and the Rule of Law. Now, some of this we may be pulling out because we may be breaking some international laws according to some of these treaties. So, hey, he pulled out before he broke the law. So, I guess, if he pulled out, I guess we're not breaking the law, international law, because we're not in it anymore, right? Regional Cooperation Agreement on Combating Piracy and Armed Robbery Against Ships in Asia. What about ships leaving Venezuela? Maybe. I know people gonna look, man. People, gonna look, man. You don't want America to be good. You don't want America to be good. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. Let's go I want to talk about this for a second. Let's talk about, because Trump mentions this a lot, and this is what seems to be happening, right? This is what seems to be happening because it's a lot being said about the American exceptionalism and the Monroe doctrine, right? I'm saying that it's an excuse for empire. Empires don't last. And George Washington said it, the founding fathers said it, but this is, Trump's justifications for territorial expansion. This is what Trump is saying. Okay. I mean, you guys, if you agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. And that's fine. We'll talk about it or, mention it. But invoking American exceptionalism, that's fine. Citing the Monroe Doctrine of 1823. Claims we need Greenland for national security because we don't want Russia in our backyard, Russia or China in our backyard. So we need claims for, national security. Everything a claim is for national security. Well, we can't release the Jeffrey Epstein list because it's national security. We can't name names because it's national security, right? So all the bullshit is they always say national security, right? Last time I checked, is it a strategic point for Russia and China if we're talking about Western Hemisphere domination? Okay, yeah, why not just make a security agreement or some agreement with Greenland, right? And Trump said we're going to basically do whatever we want to do. Let me play that clip. Then I'll come back to this. I'm going to play this clip. So I do have it, I think. I mean, so what do you guys think about this? Is this what American presidents should be saying? I mean, is this something, let me see.
Right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay?
I mean, see, so whether they like it or not, right? I know most of the places that China is going into, they're offering them actually something. Infrastructure, Belts and Road Initiative, that's what, China is about. Russia, probably oil, there's an offer. We're like, well, if they don't like it, we just gonna take the shit. Basically is what he's saying, right? And we're just pretty much gonna take the shit. Should we do that? Should we do that? Should Greenland be ours, right? TBB said, I want Greenland. Okay, cool. Should it be ours? Should that be part of the American empire building, right? Say we must protect. He says we must protect the hemisphere. Okay, we have to protect. Wow, I mean, is it that bad now? Are we at a point in America and in the world where we actually is that isolate, being isolated, right? Are we isolating ourselves in the Western Hemisphere from the rest of the world? We're protecting our hemisphere. So he's the first president to use Manifest Destiny in an inaugural address, 2025. He did that. Argues America has a special right and duty to control the Western Hemisphere. Do we? Do we? Is that what I mean? I know the Monroe Doctrine, but we got to go further. So that means taking over South America too. Right? Parts of it. So this is what the Monroe Doctrine, what it actually was. It was an 1823 policy by President James Monroe. It warned European powers stay out of the Western Hemisphere. So basically, we're warning everybody else to stay out of the Western Hemisphere. The U.S. would view European colonization in America as an act of aggression. So change that to Russia and China now. Americas were for Americans. Okay. So are we going to stop immigration? So here's what. Okay, so are we going to stop immigration? Well, in order to really put this into effect, America for Americans, the Monroe Doctrine, we would actually have to stop and put a halt to all immigration. The Monroe Doctrine say it was about defense, not conquest. So this is basically what Trump is saying. Is a defensive posture. We're protecting ourselves from China and Russia. Supposedly about keeping others out, not protecting or not taking over ourselves. But we know how that has worked out with the Patriot Act. Okay, so I think Trump is twisting the Monroe Doctrine to justification for American imperialism. And I said, hey, I wasn't gonna hold back on nobody tonight, so you guys can call it what you want to call it. It's just the way I see it. Using it to justify taking Greenland, a Danish territory, controlling the Panama Canal. I think that's ours. We should have that anyway. We never should have given that back to China anyway, or back to Panama and have them give it over to China. We built it. Using it to justify running Venezuela, which, by the way, we must not be running too much if Americans have to leave. Threatening Colombia, Cuba, and Mexico. Okay, I'm going to pop this clip up of Lindsey Graham and what he says.
Could have done it. And as to this commander-in-chief, he did something people talked about doing. You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They've preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did.
Allies are puppets. Allies are puppets. How has this worked out for America in the past? Allies or puppets? Because if we have allies, does that mean they have to actually do everything we say? Right? No. But puppets do, right? And potential expansion throughout the hemisphere. And that's, if that's part of American exceptionalism, okay, fine. But here's the hypocrisy, right? The Monroe Doctrine was anti-colonial, right? Because you have to figure when it was, right? We were escaping from the British. We didn't want to be colonized, right? Trump is using it for colonialism. That's exactly what it is. We're going to colonize Greenland. We're going to colonize Greenland. Monroe said Europe can't colonize America. We can't. That's what that was about. Trump is saying America can colonize Americas. So it's a complete perversion of the original intent. And we seem to, our Congress, our Senate, our lawmakers, we seem to pervert a lot of laws that's supposed to protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Francis Bastiat was the one that wrote The Law, the essay, The Law. I suggest you go read it. And in that, he said any law made that does not protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness of every American is a perverted and unjust law. How many of those do we have on the books? How many of those do we have on the books? How many perverted laws that goes against our true God-given inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is on the book? So those are really perverted and should not be laws, according to Bastiat. So here's a concept of American exceptionalism. It's the idea that America is unique, special among nations. I agree with that. We are. We are. I mean, we and we used to be very unique and special, but there are some unique. You go to Singapore. Singapore is unique and special. And when I'm thinking America is unique, I'm thinking America should be the best of the best, have the best of the best, be the best of the best. We don't have that. And we don't have that because we're too busy getting screwed over and robbed by our own government, by refugees, by foreigners. The taxpayers are getting fucked. And how Ice Cube say, with no Vaseline. So how is any of this good for the average American? Okay, it's based on supposedly democratic values, individual liberty, constitutional government. It historically was meant for America to be an example to the world because we used to be that, an example to the world. This is what American exceptionalism is. A city upon a hill, they used to call it, right? Others would see the light and follow. It's not about conquering others. It's not about building empires. So to me, Trump is twisting exceptionalism into justification, territorial conquests, resource extraction, Venezuela oil. I don't know how many people, when he first talked about, oh, it's about fentanyl, it's about drugs, we're blowing up drug boats. It's about drugs. It's about the American people because American people have died. And then you see how fast the shit shifted and they don't even talk about fentanyl anymore. It's about cocaine now. And it's about cocaine now because we want to go into Colombia and into Mexico. So that's the next one, right? Fentanyl, do you notice they don't even mention fentanyl anymore? And when I mention it's all about oil, just tell the truth. If you want to go get the oil, just say it. I guess enough people said that, and Trump said, okay, we're going to take the oil. He's at it. It's all about the oil. No, so we want to ignore sovereignty of allies, right? Denmark, Panama. We just want to ignore that, right? They're sovereign countries, so we just want, and they're allies right now. Denmark is an ally, right? But we just want to ignore their sovereignty and say, hey, well, either you do business with us or we're gonna come take your shit. Right? We're going to have military occupation in Venezuela. It's unstable. We're going to have to. When they told you there would be no boots on the ground, they were lying. I hope you know they were lying. But when I said that, when I brought this out to people, I'm the bad guy. Oh, you just hate Trump, or you're not MAGA anymore, or you're a liberal now. What happened to you? You've gone crazy. Someone actually said I was mentally ill because I'm questioning the shit that's going on. We want economic imperialism everywhere. Is this what it's about? Is this what the Monroe Doctrine was about? So here's the real question, though. Here's the real question. I want y'all to answer this. And I know there's a whole bunch of Trump support. I've lost friends. I've lost viewers because I'm asking tough questions, right? I've lost. I mean, and it is what it is. Yeah, they're gonna go down to Africa too. They're gonna go after Burkina Faso. Again, I've said that a month ago, 2 months ago. They're gonna be trying to go after him. Carolyn is saying, for my nephew on standby in Africa, send Barron's punk ass over and let him get some military training. Right? Yeah. Their kids never go. Right? Their kids never go. We might just. It's always the peasants. The peasants go do the fighting. The peasants go do the battle, right? So here's the real who benefits, right? So Greenland, and this is true. The Greenland land grab. I'm going to call it the Greenland land grab. Okay, so who really benefits? Trump says it's for national security, protect us from Russia and China. That's what Trump says. Okay? Reality, Greenland has rare earth minerals worth trillions of dollars, just like Venezuela. They have oil and gas reserves, strategic Arctic shipping routes. Okay. Who profits? I'm telling you guys, get your fucking portfolios. Just follow what Trump is doing. I've been checking out these companies that have gotten to this game with Trump and the silver Venezuela, this silver company was processing a company or whatever that's supposed to be in Tennessee called TMA, I believe the ticker is. I've been watching all these companies and I've bought stock in every one of them. I bought stock in every single company that is jumping on board. AI company, I got AI stock. These companies, I got oil stocks, I got silver, get your stock portfolios in the right order, right? Because who profits? Mining companies, oil companies, defense contractors, not everyday Americans. Everyday Americans will not even, what, gas prices might go down. I mean, they'll go down, however far they go down. I don't think they'll never get down to 17 cents like in Libya or Saudi Arabia or any of these, right? Everyday Americans is not going to benefit off of this. They tell you will, but I'm from Missouri. You got to show me. Every time they tell us that Americans is going to benefit, do we ever? Do we ever? Everyday Americans? No. Everyday Americans don't own stocks. Everyday Americans can't even afford stocks. Most everyday Americans don't have 401ks. If you have 401k, fine. Make sure you bulk up on mining companies, oil companies, and defense contractor companies. Move your cash and keep silver and gold. Okay, let's talk about the Venezuelan takeover. Trump says he want to restore democracy and help Venezuelan people. Stop, man. Stop. How many Americans? Do you know how many Americans need help? Okay, how is this going to benefit the American people? But here's the reality for Venezuela. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world. Trump has already announced the oil that the U.S. is going to sell 30 to 50 million barrels of Venezuelan oil. We're going to sell it and keep the money. We'll give some to the Venezuelan people. 80%, you bet 80% of that money is going to these companies. Americans won't see any of this. You're not going to get a check. You're not going to get a royalty check from the 50 billion barrels of Venezuelan oil that we're going to sell. You're not going to get that. And they're not going to use that to pay off the debt. It would be nice, okay, if you use this, sell it, and then pay down the debt. That's not going to happen. Why? Because you silly-ass Americans pay income taxes, and they're going to keep taking it from you. Are our income taxes going to go down? Right? Venezuelans will see maybe 20%, 15% if they're lucky. And then he says Trump is going to control the proceeds. What the fuck is that? The president of the United States said, I'm going to control the money. Really? Really? Is that how this shit's supposed to work? We're going to sell 30 to 50 million barrels of oil, and I'm going to control the money. You MAGA, you staunch Trump supporters, and I am a staunch Trump supporter. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? Is that how it's supposed to work? I don't think in the Constitution, I don't think it's supposed to work like that. But Trump said he's going to control the money. Him. He's going to control it as the president of the United States. The fuck? And no one sees anything wrong with that. Yeah. Okay. The oil companies get the contract. So who profits? Big oil, not Americans. Okay, the gas prices are going to go down, and you're going to think you're a big fucking winner, American. You're a big winner. I'm paying $1.99 for gas. Woohoo! And they just made billions, and your dumb ass is paying for building up Venezuela because it's going to have to be rebuilt. Your dumb ass is paying for putting the refineries back online. But we're cheering for it. Go. Okay, the Panama Canal. Trump says China is controlling it. That's actually false. It's actually false. The canal generates $5 billion plus annually in fees, and the U.S. wants to recapture that revenue. That's what it is. Should we? I think we built it. We probably never should have gave it up. Shipping companies want control of that. Who profits? Corporations, not Americans. I don't think we're gonna. I don't think we ever been. Did any of you guys when we controlled the Panama Canal and our government was actually getting those fees, the $5 billion in fees? Did any of you guys get a paycheck, a royalty check for that? Did any of you benefit from that at all? I mean, because if you did, I'd like to know how I can get my cut. I want to know how I can get my cut. Seriously. Because if we're benefiting, I want some too. But I know how I'm going to get mine. I'm putting my money into oil company stocks, big oil stocks, defense contractor stocks, everything that got Trump's name on it, right? Got Trump Media Group, $6 billion with the Fusion Company. I'm getting me some Trump Media Group stock. I mean, cause shit, if Trump is gonna enrich his family and make sure his family, I'm gonna get some of that shit too. And that's the only way I know how to get it. That's the only way I know how to get it. So the pattern for American exceptionalism as a cover for corporate profit is this. They identify resource-rich territory. And this is why, let me ask you this. And we've been down in Africa. We got AFRICOM down there. Carolyn just mentioned it. We've been down in Africa. We've had deals in Africa. We've, and our allies, right? Our allies, we've gotten resources out of Africa, right? And they always say, yeah, it's going to help America and the people of the country. How come motherfucking Africa is so poor? Because all these countries, not just us, you got China, you got England, you got Israel, you got the United States, you got all of these countries, you got France, all of these countries go down and rape and pillage these countries for their national resources, and they're still fucking poor. They don't ever get any money. Let's see how rich Venezuelans get. Let's see how the lives of Venezuelans, okay, you don't have Maduro down there, you don't have the cocaine. Well, I'm going to play a clip before we leave. It's like 11 minutes long. It's about the truth about who was running the cocaine empire in Venezuela. And it wasn't Maduro. Maduro's a fucking truck driver. It wasn't Maduro. It was the CIA. Last week, if you watched the show last week, me and the colonel talked about that. She talked about that. The CIA runs the drug trade throughout the world. They run the drug trade throughout the world. It's not Maduro. Maduro's just in the way, just like over in Afghanistan. The Taliban was just in the way. So number two, they claim national security threat. If we don't do this, it's a national security threat. The national fucking security threat is in Minnesota. I don't see any troops in Minnesota yet. I see some ICE. I haven't seen you deploy the Marines there yet. That's a national security threat. Minneapolis is a national security threat right now because that shit can blow up into a powder keg right now. National security threat. Okay, invoke the Monroe Doctrine, use military or economic pressure, right? This is what he's doing to Greenland, right? If you don't do it, whether you like it or not, we're going to do something because we got the biggest, baddest fucking military in the world and we will use it to take your shit. And that, it is what it is, right? That's what it is. We extract the resources, we take it, corporations profit, American taxpayers pay the bill, and American soldiers die. That's the pattern. That's the pattern. And if I'm wrong, tell me. I don't think so. I don't think I am. The corporations always profit. The American taxpayers always pay the bill, and American soldiers die because we go on the front lines and we fight. The American soldiers, the poor American soldiers, not the rich motherfuckers, because they don't put their kids in the military. They don't go to war, they don't go to battle, they don't put their kids in harm's way, but we die for this. We die on the foreign lands, right? So here's the playbook, right? Iraq, right? Here's the similarities. I'm just laying it out. Iraq, WMDs, oil companies got the contracts. Afghanistan, terrorism, defense contractors made trillions. Libya, humanitarian intervention. We had oil access. Oh, and by the way, they're selling black slaves in Libya. Didn't work out too well. Syria, chemical weapons. Those are the pipeline routes that go into Israel. They had to have those pipeline routes, and they still fight. We just bombed ISIS again in Syria. We just bombed them again yesterday, I think it was. Those are pipeline routes that Israel needs. Now Venezuela, Greenland, Panama, resources and shipping. It's the playbook, resources and shipping. So Trump's personal profit angle. Okay, here it is. I mean, this is what I mean. I'm watching. You got the CRO, you got the XRP crypto, right? I'm watching these companies, man, that's getting in bed with Trump. I'm watching the cryptos. Telling you, CRO, XRP, better go get some. And I honestly believe his personal profit angle is this. And from Venezuela, Trump personally announced that U.S., he will control the oil proceeds. He said his company, Trump Media, are merging with energy tech companies. Trump Media is merging with energy tech companies. That's the fusion companies. The fusion power needs government contracts. Who's going to get the money? The fusion power companies need the government contracts. They get the government contracts. The Venezuelan oil leverage for energy deals. Trump enriches while claiming and his cronies claiming American interests. How much are we going to get? How much are we going to get a check? And if we have to put boots on the ground in Venezuela, some of those boots are going to die. Now, I heard that we got a secret weapon. I saw some things about a secret weapon where 20 guys got out of a helicopter and something happened and people start dropping like flies. 100 guys, blood coming out their noses and ears, and they were totally incapacitated. 100 died, no soldiers. So, yeah, I already know we got some weapons. So is this what we're going to do? I mean, totally, man. This is totally like Avatar shit. The movie Avatar, man. You know? All of it. Movies only have a little bit of like the fluff stuff to make it a little untrue, right? Fiction, nonfiction, right? The fiction stuff. Then most of the movies are true nonfiction, most of them. But this is Avatar, man. I mean, I don't know about. It's sort of funny, right? Because I found myself rooting for the blue people. I forget the fucking character names, but you know. But I saw the plot. I saw it all. I saw it clear as day. Clear as day. Who that was and what was going on. Greenland, where rare earth minerals needed for what? AI technology. Trump media merged partners that they need this, right? Palantir, the big data centers, you got freaking Zuckerberg back at the table. So all of these people with the AI, they need this, and Trump media is in bed with all of them, right? The defense systems, the nuclear fusion, the nuclear fusion. It's public knowledge. They merged with what is it? I forget the ticker symbol, but you know, so they benefit from Greenland resources, all while claiming national security while personally profiting. That's against the law. I'm sorry. It is. That's not right. That's wrong, man. And even if you are a Trump supporter, if you can't see that the American people, and all of this has been a distraction from Epstein, you're right, Jackie. But if you can't see, yeah, don't forget to invest. Thank you, Louis. Louis is in the chat. And don't forget to invest in nuclear energy. Man, I'd already bought in that fusion company that Trump went. That fusion company here. Hold on, let me see. Here you go. And he pulled out of all of these, I'm looking at a lot of these 66 UN things, and it's only because of, I think we're going to be breaking a lot of these treaties, to be honest. Let's just leave the UN, though. Okay? Let's leave the UN. All right, so media merges with fusion company. Let me see what the ticker is on that. People gonna be like, man, you just hate Trump. Nah, I'm gonna get some of this money, man. I'm gonna get some of this money too, right? First fusion, TAE Technologies, TAE, Trump Media and Technology Group, and TAE Technologies merged $6 billion merger with the fusion company. $6 billion. $6 billion. So TMTG is Trump's symbol, and TAE is the ticker for the fusion company. So if you can't see that that's wrong, you're blinded. You have blind support. You have blind support. And I'm not going to, the average American can't buy TAE stock, can't buy Trump Media Group stock, don't have a 401k. So what's going to happen to them? They're going to continue to suffer, continue to pay income tax, continue to live the life that they have. They're not going to be enriched. Not going to happen. So the Monroe Doctrine said Europe don't colonize America. Trump's version say America can colonize the Americas. He's going to give the Monroe, he's talking about the Monroe Doctrine. Well, I'm going to blow it up. I'm going to blow up the argument. This is not protecting the hemisphere. It's controlling the hemisphere. The Monroe Doctrine wanted to stop European empires. Trump wants to build an American empire. Empires have always failed. But Trump wants to build an American empire. This is what we're doing. Real American exceptionalism is based on democratic values, constitutional government, a constitutional government, individual liberty, rule of law, and America being that example. We're supposed to be the example. Here's Trump's version. Might makes right, basically. Presidential profit with his companies. I know he says, well, I'm not profiting my companies. My son is running the companies. And come on, man. Ignoring allies, sovereignty, military conquest, America as an empire. Is this what our founding fathers envisioned? Is this what we're supposed to be? So the America's only perspective. Here's some questions for you. Is Greenland? So if you guys want to, I'm going to ask you these questions, right? Because I wrote down something about this whole thing. So is Greenland takeover about national security or corporate profit? If it's security, why not just strengthen our existing bases? We have bases there. You guys don't know that, right? We have missile bases there, right? Oh, you guys didn't know that. Some of you didn't know that. Some of you didn't know that we already have bases on Greenland. Yeah, I've been there. Some of you didn't know we already have missile bases, protection in Greenland. You didn't know that? Oh, okay. So why not just strengthen those existing bases? Why do we need to own it? Why do we need to own it? Why do we need that? Well, what's the answer to that? What's the answer to that? Why do we need to own Greenland? Truthfully, we can just bolster the missile sites, It's for resources and money. It's for resources and money. Venezuela. Question 2 for you. Question 2. Is Venezuela about democracy or oil? Is it about drugs? I don't think we've blown up any ships since we took over or had Maduro out, right? So I guess the fentanyl ships, I guess they just stopped running, right? Is that what happened? So if it's democracy, why is Trump controlling the oil proceeds? Why is that? Okay, we got the bad guy out. Why not let Venezuela control the oil proceeds? Why is Trump saying he's gonna? I heard him say that and I cringed so hard. He said he was going to control the oil proceeds.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connected.
The president, I'm going to control the money. So why are oil companies already negotiating contracts? It's oil and money. It's oil and money. So is the Monroe Doctrine being used for Americans or against Americans? Let me ask you that. If it's for Americans, would mean protecting it from U.S. foreign, and what we're protecting the U.S. from foreign threats, right? Against Americans, being used to justify wars Americans have to pay for and corporations profit from. So is it for Americans or against Americans? We're going to have to go fight the war, the average Americans. We got to pay for it. The corporations are going to profit. So that's against everyday Americans. It's against us. It's not for us. I mean, I can go on and on, the historical parallel, the 1890s imperialism, manifest destiny, but I would have to go probably longer than 2 hours. I haven't even covered a bunch of what I want to cover because I mean this this thing really hit me because I want America to be exceptional the right way. Manifest destiny in Trump's inaugural address. He's the first president to use this phrase, manifest destiny, in an inauguration in the 19th, in his inauguration. Manifest destiny equals that's 19th century idea. It's a 19th century idea that U.S. is destined to expand across continent. So it's used to justify Native American people genocide, Mexican American War, us getting California, Texas, and the Southwest. So it was always about land and resources. It always is, right? Always wrapped in God's will, right? Because there's a preacher. Let me see. Did I? Let me see if I downloaded that. It's always wrapped in God's will. You notice that, right? They always put God in it. Did I? I don't think I downloaded that video. Hold up. No, I didn't download that video, but there's this, I guess, one of those evangelists, one of those guys that God spoke to me and he says, God, and he said, God told Trump to go take the oil, basically. That God said it. God said, go do it, dog. So it's cool, man.
I want to speak for just a moment.
I don't want to play the crying sheriff. I mean, it got so much. I want to talk about Bongino. I want to talk about, man, so much because Bongino has lost his mind. Okay, I'm going to get off this American exceptionalism. We're going to flip scripts, and but but Trump is just reviving it for the 21st century. Same rhetoric, same justifications, same result, empire. The difference is that, though, he, his family, his companies are all going to personally profit off of it. If you can't see that, he's telling you himself. The mergers are public. He's going to personally profit. So here's the conflict I have, and I'll get off of it. The Monroe Doctrine versus actual actions. The Monroe Doctrine then, in 1823, European powers don't colonize America's purpose, protect newly independent Latin American nations, effect prevented European reconquest. Trump's actions in 2026. He wants to take Greenland from Denmark, our NATO ally. They're an ally. So I guess we have to really get out of NATO for them not to be an ally to take their shit, right? They're a NATO ally, man. You can actually work with them, right? Controlling Panama, occupying Venezuela, threatening Colombia, Mexico, and Cuba. This is not American exceptionalism. This is American colonialism instead of European. That's all it is. This is colonialism. But the real version, I think, of American exceptionalism, like I said, this is what it'll look like to me. We respect sovereignty of all nations. We don't make up shit, right? Lead by example, not by force. Bring back manufacturing. Bring back the manufacturing to the United States. Let's make America truly great again. Let's give Americans jobs. Let's bring back the middle class. Let's actually make Americans rich. He said the tariffs are going to make America so rich. You guys rich yet? I know. I know. I'm going to get this. Oh, he's only been in office for a year. Well, you guys know something? We only got till 2026. And I honestly believe looking at shit and understanding the landscape and what's going on, we're not going to hold the house 2026. We have a lot of people leaving. We have a lot of people resigning. We have a lot of people not running for re-election. This country is going to look totally different 2026. And it's not because of people like me. People going to blame, like to blame people like me who don't agree with everything. Oh, you're the reason. I've actually had people say this. I got one vote. I got one vote. You're the reason that we're going to lose the House in 2026. Little old me, I'm going to be the sole reason, right? No. How about this? How about this for being the reason? Okay. How about this for being the reason? I'm going to throw this up here real quick. How about this for being the reason, maybe? Oh, Bongino, Bongino. Well, let me throw this up. How about this being the reason? Probably. How about that? I asked Dan this question and he blocked me. He actually blocked me. Bongino blocked me, man, for asking this. Hey, Dan, answer why. We don't need all the badass talk. How he wanted to say he was going to kick ass and the black pillars and all this shit, right? So can you explain why none of these have happened? This is going to be the reason we lose. If we lose the House, this is going to be the reason. Not because I don't agree with Trump, not because I'm speaking on what American exceptionalism should be. This is going to be the reason. Right there. That right there. While I'm in here, Bongino, he blocked me, yo. I just asked him a question about this list. I asked him a question about the list. Hey, Dan, can you just answer why? Can you explain? You're coming out of the FBI. You got all the bad talk. You want to beat up the black pillars and shit, right? Can you just explain why none of this has happened? Dan Bongino has blocked you. Unfucking believable. Unbelievable. Right? We want to lead by example. We want to protect American borders and citizens. You did. So far, the border has been great. Let's seal the borders. Seal the borders. Protect American borders from citizens. We've had over, and I'm going to stop you right there. It was Biden's fault. It was all Biden's fault. No, the fuck it wasn't. No, the fuck it wasn't. Let's just stop. It was all Biden let in 30 million people. No, 2016, Trump won the election. We had the president, we had the House, and we had the Senate. But we had too many motherfucking non-Trumpers and too many people in the Senate and in the House that didn't want Trump to build the wall. So the wall never got finished. And these are Republicans. Not just Democrats, not just Biden. Yeah, Biden opened the floodgates. But the shit it started before Biden. He was a big factor though. Let's trade fairly with neighbors. Let's defend actual threats. Let's do that. How about that? Let's uphold constitutional principles. We have a government that is not governing by constitutional constraints and principles. And no, it's not just Trump. It happened way before then. And how about not profiting from the office? That's not supposed to happen. That's not supposed to happen. But here's Trump's version. People say, oh, you just hate Trump. No, man, I'm just calling a spade a spade. We're going to violate sovereignty when convenient. We're going to lead by force and threats. The Department of War. We're going to lead by force and threats. If you don't give it to us, we're going to do it. We can do this the hard way or the easy way. Expand borders through conquest. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. We're expanding our borders through conquest. We're going to extract resources from other neighbors. I thought we went to war for that. Didn't we go to war because Iraq was supposedly angle drilling Kuwait's oil or something like that? They were stealing their oil. Didn't we go to war for that? We ignore the constitutional constraints that we have in this country. We have a government that ignores those. And Trump is profiting, whether you want to believe it or not, whether you want to say it, because, You don't want to go against Trump, and I know you're mad at me. But he's profiting massively from this office. And no, he said, "Oh, you sound like a Democrat." No, I sound like a fucking American that see some wrong shit going on. That's not supposed to happen according to our laws of the Constitution of the United States. So a person, so who's the real patriot? Okay, and I swear I'm done after this. I swear I am done after this. Who's the real patriot? A person who says we're going to respect other nations and we're going to focus on America, or a person who says we're going to take Greenland, control Venezuela, and threaten the rest of our allies, and I'm going to control the money. Who's the real patriot? A person who does not profit from the presidency, or a person whose company merges for $6 billion while he's the president? Who's the real patriot? A person who says American values matter, or a person who says, hey, might makes right. We take what we want. We want it. We're just going to take it.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connected.
American exceptionalism should mean that Americans are first in our country. We take care of our people before we take care of others. We defend our borders. We fix our infrastructure. We're going to go down and we're going to fix Venezuela before we even fix some of these cities in America. Before we even fix our own infrastructure, we need to fix our schools. We need to house our veterans. We need to lead by example. That's what American exceptionalism should be. That's what I think. That's what I believe. So, people, man, they attacked me for going after Dan Bongino. Even before he blocked me. And I don't know if you guys heard the song that I came in on. I'm going out on that same song, man, because that's just the way I feel right now. Because the shit ain't right, man. The shit ain't right. It's not what our country is about, man. It's not what I spent 27 years of my life defending. I voted for true American exceptionalism. So Dan Bongino, okay, so he had put this up. Oh, let me tell you what's going on in Argentina right now. Hold on, let me play this because it's a bunch of stuff going on in Argentina that a lot of people don't really know about. Like I said, I had a bunch of stuff I want to go through, but hey, keep your eyes on silver too, right? Keep your eyes on Iran. We got 116 dead, I think, right now, and Trump is considering strikes in Iran because some people are dying. Trump says, "We're ready. Are you guys ready?" I know. Okay, we got the bombs. We got all the good stuff, man. While we're probably headed to civil war here in this country, Minneapolis is burning autonomous zones. We got federal agents shooting folks. We got schools closing, nationwide protests. We got these lunatics out here saying, "Shoot ICE, come with guns, shoot ICE." I saw a poll that they said like 40% of Americans think the Civil War is likely in the next decade. Come get my ass. You're going to have to come up to the mountains, brother. You have to come up to the mountains. But Argentina is burning. And they're saying that these fires are being set intentionally. So it looks like not only is the United States trying to colonize or protect our Western Hemisphere from enemies, it looks like Israel is trying to move in too. Israel, they IDF soldiers actually they vacation there. They've been vacationing there for years. But I'm gonna read this. So since January 5th, massive wildfires have been raging through Patagonia, that's southern Argentina. Okay, so over 7,000 hectares, that's acres, pretty much burned. Thousands of tourists evacuated. Local residents said it's hell. Every 5 minutes, a new fire starts. That sound like what? L.A. What is North Carolina? That sounds like Hawaii, Maui, right? This is the worst. They say it's the worst environmental tragedy in 20 years. Now, here's where it gets crazy. Argentine authorities are investigating reports that Israeli tourists were caught deliberately setting fires in Los Glaciares National Park. Multiple eyewitnesses with video evidence. Here's the kicker. They allegedly used a M26 IM grenade manufactured in Israel and used by the IDF. 2 Israeli individuals described on social media as active or former IDF soldiers posing as tourists were caught on video starting multiple fires in protected forest regions. When confronted, they fled. Now there's a nationwide manhunt. There's a $30,000 reward for that. I'm going to play a clip here from the guy. Play it.
En cuanto a tierras rurales, se libera la compra por parte de privados extranjeros. También se elimina la prohibición de cambiar la actividad productiva del campo por 30 a 60 años tras un incendio, una ley del diputado Máximo Kirchner que atenta directamente contra la producción.
So what they're doing, they're trying to go in there and take the land for free. They're burning up the land. And I'm going to end with the CIA, this cocaine thing. Got about 13 minutes, so I'm going to play this. So you guys understand that who runs the world cocaine. I didn't play this last week, but I'm going to play it this week. So you guys know, man, that the CIA runs pretty much everything. Not Maduro. It's not these CIA. We started the drug trade there just like everywhere, man. Just like everywhere. So Milei, and matter of fact, and Milei, I tell you this, he was pretty much installed too. This was Trump's dude, right? So Argentina's current president, Javier Milei, a self-proclaimed anarcho-capitalist who is rabidly pro-Israel. He waves Israeli flags at rallies. He moved Argentina's embassy to Jerusalem. This is what they want to do to Venezuela. The Machado chick in Venezuela said that they're going to do that. She gets power. That's who they want to put in power. She's the Israeli puppet over Venezuela, right? Milei won the 1 million Genesis Prize. He used it to launch the Isaac Accords, which normalize relations between Israel and Latin America countries. Milei studies under Rabbi Shimon Axel Wanish, who is now Argentina's ambassador to Israel. Why is it that Israel is involved in everything? It's always there. The Venezuela thing, because Maduro went in on Venezuela. He was like, no, we're not moving the embassy, and he came out against Zionism. And now we, see what happened. But here's where, I'm playing this, but here's where, I think it gets a little more interesting with Milei too. I'm thinking about it. He gutted Argentina's environmental agencies, right? The National Fire. You see how this always happens when these big fires jump out, right? Same thing happened in California. This is where they want to put these 15-minute cities, right? The National Fire Management Service got only 26% of its budget there. And here it is. Patagonia is home to vast freshwater resources, minerals. And geopolitical importance is also a favorite destination for Israeli soldiers on holiday after serving where? Killing Gazans. According to the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, 10% of Israeli military tourism in Argentine Patagonia is in Israeli hands. Wow. It's colonialism, man. It's colonialism.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connected.
All right, so the tough conversation that we need to have is this, and okay. But here's what I need you to understand. Going into the future, right? And I need you to understand this. I support Trump's agenda still. I'm going to question it. I want to secure the border, end foreign aid. I'm all about America first. I get it. I get it. But here's what I want all you cult members, and all you people that want to say I'm mentally ill, I'm crazy, I'm a Democrat, I don't support Trump, I'm not MAGA, all of this shit, right? All this shit. Supporting Trump doesn't mean that I turn off my fucking brain. It doesn't mean that I stop asking questions. It doesn't mean that I blindly accept everything that happens. Because here's what's happening right now, okay? Whether it was her fault or not, we're getting people shot in the country by federal agents. Okay, I believe it was her fault. It is what it is. She probably should have just complied, right? The FBI is blocking the state investigators, which shouldn't happen. Now the city has autonomous zones. So here's Chaz 2.0. Schools are closed. Children are suffering. Children are suffering because schools are closed now, right? Venezuela is so unstable that we just took over, but it's so unstable that the State Department is telling Americans to get out as soon as possible. Leave Venezuela if you can. Because what's happening is they're going around, they're checking the passports, and if you are an American citizen, they're taking you, kidnapping you, killing you, or whatever, right? Iran is on the brink of war. And Trump is considering, again, military strikes. They could, of course, trigger more regional war. Silver's at $80, gold's at $45. The markets are screaming that something big is coming. You have to understand that. So yeah, Trump is right about a lot of things. The globalists are corrupt. I hope him and his team goes to Davos and totally dismantle the World Economic Forum. I hope they do.
Bluetooth disconnected.
I hope they do.
Bluetooth
okay.
connected.
The UN is corrupt. It's wasteful. We don't need to be in the UN. The border needs to be sealed, not just secure. I know they say we're secure. We haven't had any. No, we need to seal the border. And yes, Maduro was a dictator. The Iranian regime, yeah, it's evil.
Bluetooth connected.
But we also need to ask this stuff, right? We also need to ask at what cost? What's the cost? Where does it end? And are we prepared for what comes next? Because I don't think we're prepared for what comes next in Venezuela. You can use your special weapons. How long, how much you going to use those, right? Before we have to put boots on the ground or whatever. Are we prepared for what comes next, right? Because blind loyalty to anyone is dangerous. So questioning your leaders doesn't make you disloyal. It doesn't make you less conservative. It doesn't make you less Republican. It makes you a citizen, a thinking citizen. And actually, that's what makes you a patriot. That's what makes you a patriot. You know, I do this show, and this show is this. I've thought a couple of times about, just calling it quits, man. I'm getting older. I got a grandson. Just call this, waste of time, right? But this show exists because I won't gaslight you. That's why people watch this show, The ones that do and the ones that left and the ones that don't watch anymore, you want to be gaslit, you want to be held in the matrix, go the fuck ahead. But I will not gaslight you. I won't give you propaganda. I won't lick boots. I won't kiss ass, but I will give you the truth. And what I'm giving you tonight is the truth, whether you want to believe it, you want to hear it, or not. Every week, we give you the truth, uncensored, unfiltered, unapologetic, even when it's complicated. I voted for Trump 3 times. I voted for him 3 times. I've been to Mar-a-Lago. I've been up on stage with Trump. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when it pisses people off, you have to stay true to yourself. You have to stay true. And this is what we do on the Radical Republicans live show. And I was going to play the clip, but I'm not. Fuck Dan Bongino. We'll see what happens when he comes back. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm okay. I guess we got about 10 minutes. I'm not gonna play the cocaine thing. I mean, you guys have to research it, man. Because I don't know how many of you guys are gonna fucking listen to it anyway. So, but you know, but Gino's supposed to come back in February. Let's see how many fans he has left. He's blocked so many people. So many people. You know, I was gonna play a clip of the lady getting drugged by ICE. You know, stay out of the way, man. People, stay out of the way. I was gonna play the crying sheriff cried about the illegal or whatever getting shot in California. I was gonna play, you know, just so much. It's just bullshit.
Bluetooth disconnect. Bluetooth connected.
But don't be a blind follower. No matter how uncomfortable it may make you, however many people block you, say they're gonna stop following you. They're not your friend anymore. No, I told my sister. I'm gonna play this one for my sister because she's my sister's a raging liberal. I gotta say what it is, right? She said, "You need to play this on your show." Where's it at? Oh, you need to play this on your show so people can comment to see how other people around the world, how people in the country is truly feeling. I said, I don't play raging liberals on my show, man. I just don't. But I'm gonna play this for my sister. I told her I'd play it. I told her this is gonna get ratioed so bad. Yeah, people in North Carolina are still living in tents, Carolyn. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. And so I'm gonna play this. Let me share my screen. I'm gonna play this and then we'll get out of here. But and I warn you, it's a raging liberal, okay? Okay. So here we go. God. It hurts, Stephen. It hurts when I even listen to it. I only could really stand like 10 minutes of it, to be honest. I mean 10 seconds, not 10 minutes, 10 seconds. It's quick. Only 10 seconds of it. But here we go. I'm gonna play this because I told my sister I would. You guys can comment as necessary so I can show her the comments.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Here we go.
Bluetooth connected.
Hold on, I gotta.
Fucking great yet? Are we a great country? Is this one? It's fucking great. Huh? Americans working their fucking ass off 50, 60 fucking hours a week to have nothing to show to it? Are we fucking great? Is America great where ICE agents are shooting citizens in the fucking street and the government's saying it's self-defense? Are we fucking great yet? Because what do you mean? I'm making the most money I've ever made in my life and I'm struggling more than I was struggling 5 years ago unemployed. having to overdraw my account every single week just to make ends meet, and that's mostly for fucking groceries. Okay? I have 4 fucking teenagers. Do you know what it's like trying to feed teenage boys? And I got one turning 15 today, and I have $6 fucking in my account. I can't get him a present. I can't get him a cake. I have another one whose first fucking basketball game is today. I was gonna take them out to dinner to celebrate the birthday of the basketball game, and I have no fucking money! But you know, the fucking family on food stamps, which I'm one of them. By the way, we have food stamps. I'm one of those families who would use her food stamps to fucking buy my 15-year-old birthday cake, but I don't even have any food stamps because of you fucking assholes! You think you're making America great because you're a fucking racist, bigoted dickwad. But all you're doing is hurting us, people like me, the working class families who are doing nothing but trying to achieve their own fucking American dream. And for what? And for what? For fucking greed. And like, I'm just fucking curious, are we great yet? Are we fucking great yet? Are we a great country? Is this one? It's fucking great.
That shit was painful. She's a single mom. That's probably one reason. She's fucking a lunatic. And chances are, why do they have to do that? Why do they have to get on TikTok and do that? Right? She needs some help. She needs some mental help. Everybody's having a hard time. You don't have to get on TikTok and do that. So I played that for my sister, and it was. So put your comments up there. So I'm gonna take a screenshot of my and send my sister. Okay, so this is what everybody thought about your video. Seriously. Look, I have kids, man. I have kids. They're having a hard time. But you know what? I've taught my sons not to fucking complain. Not to fucking complain. You made your bed. Fucking live in it. You have 4 kids, lady, without a husband. How many daddies? How many babies daddies? I know they say a lot of black women have different baby daddies. How many baby daddies? You have 4 teenage sons, no man. It used to be when back in the day, hey, teenagers had to go get jobs. They need to help mama. Right? But somehow you made a bed and you laid in it. Like my son, I have a son, he lives in New York City. He wants to pursue this, Broadway and stuff. I'm like, man, do what you need to do. Okay, so he's working 3 jobs. He's not fucking on TikTok complaining. He can't get food stamps and shit like that. He makes too much money, barely. But he has 3 jobs. It is what it is. You fucking survive and do what you need to do. You don't get on fucking TikTok and lose your goddamn mind. Like I said, that's why I left it up for you guys, man. It was painful. But I guarantee you, like Susan says, her struggle is nothing like a struggle in a third world country. Shit, open up fucking daycare, man. Do what the Somalis do. Shit. You got 4 kids, man. Look, the Somalis open up daycare to watch their own fucking kids. You need to get on board with what the Somalis are doing. But she has 4 teenage sons at the same time, Susan says. It's so, but anyway. I know, Jamie says, please turn it off. She's fucking crazy. I know, man. So it's like ridiculous, man. But remember, y'all be cool, man. Let's make America exceptional. I mean, we have to do the right things. I love Cuba, man. I mean, me and Jamie, we've been down to Gitmo. I've been to Havana. I've been in Cuba, man. I love Cuba. I would love to see Cuba doing great. But here's the thing you guys have to understand. Please, please, please understand this. Most of these countries are doing bad and they're poverty stricken because of the sanctions that we put on them. We discussed this last week. Me and the Colonel Towner, Watkins last week. These countries are doing bad because of the sanctions that we've put on. Cuba, if we would have lifted sanctions a long time ago, no, they're a communist country. Motherfucker, we do business with China. What the fuck is China? What the fuck is China? We do business and trade and shit with communist fucking countries all the time. All the time. But we couldn't lift sanctions against Cuba because, Castro, they're a communist country. So we couldn't do trade with them. We trade with freaking China. What's the difference? Tell me, what's the difference if we open up trade with Cuba and opening up trade with China? Look at the shit in your house. What does it say? Made in fucking China. China is the biggest humanitarian violators in the world. Ask the Uyghurs. The biggest violators of human rights in the world. Ask their people that's on the ESG scores now. Mass surveillance. They do something wrong, they get their card switched off. They can't leave a certain area. Ask them. But we still doing trade with them? We still doing trade with China? Man, give me a fucking break, man. Give me a fucking break. Yeah, so now we'll go and take Cuba and take over and pretend like, oh, it's great. Motherfucker, Cuba could have been great. Could have been great. Long time ago. So, but love you guys, man. And hey, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. Let's do right. Do the right fucking thing. And check out Trump in Davos this week. Let's see what he has to say. Let's see if he's going to go and set them people straight like that lady said. And we'll see what happens. All right. Love you guys. You guys take care. See you guys next Sunday. Same time, same place. Peace out. Y'all have a great week. We'll holler at you.
They've been poking at the wolf. Now the wolf got teeth. They forgot I came from fire, and I don't do peace. Cross that line, boy, that's your last mistake. 'Cause I don't want twice, I just raise the stakes. You threaten mine, and you threaten your life. I don't do prayer circles, I return the strike. Ain't no fear in my bones, ain't no backing out. Say my name wrong once, and now I'm hearing it out. I'll burn this bitch down, don't test my flame. You play with hellfire, you say my name. You come for my people, I'll take your crown. I swear to God, I'll burn this bitch down. I'll burn this bitch down, leave nothing behind. Push me too far, I'll lose my mind. You want that smoke, I'll bring that sound. One last chance before I burn this bitch down. I ain't violent for sport, but I finish what you start. I'm the storm in the dark, I'm the iron heart. Kick dirt on my door and I'll bury the plot. I don't bluff, motherfucker, I take the shot. I don't fight fair, I fight final instead. Till the whole damn room learns what I said. Protect what's mine, that's a blood-borne vow. Say a word wrong, you'll find out now. Swear to God, I'll burn this bitch down. I'll burn this bitch down, leave nothing behind. Push me too far, I'll lose my mind. You want that smoke, I'll bring that sound. One Last breath, last spark, last round. Touch mine once, I'll level the ground. I'll burn this bitch down, don't test my flame. You play with hellfire, you say my name. You push on my family, I'll take you out. I warned you once. Now watch me burn it down.